Hey everybody, it's Carolyn Edlund. I'm the founder of Artsy Shark, and thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. I have a topic today which I think is important to all artists, and that is about your customer and knowing who your ideal customer is. It can be difficult for some artists, not always, but I want to just kind of throw some ideas out there to help you hone in on the perfect people to be your collectors. Certainly is not everyone. And I recently did another video on people who are not your customers. If you want to check that out, that's in my channel, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. But today I want to talk about finding your ideal customers. Now, sometimes it's easier than other times. If you're an artist or if you make handmade work, think about whether you are creating it for a certain reason or a certain person. And if it is your intention to do so, then you are already aiming for a target customer. For example, if you make engagement rings, then that's for a particular reason, and you'll be looking for people who are planning to get married, planning to get engaged. So that would be something that's a very specific target audience. However, there are a lot of other artists who have niches that they're in, and it just makes sense for them to be cultivating a certain audience. So, for example, if you make sporting art and you're into certain types of sports, you know that fans of those sports would be a good match for you. Let's say you paint equestrian paintings, then you know that your ideal customer already has an interest in the topic. They might own horses, they might participate in different sports, and there are quite a few artists in that niche who have really done well because they were able to connect with their audience, go to the events where they are, go to the sites where they discuss things, and the publications that they read, the conferences that they attend, and so forth. And you can do this in many different types of areas. Perhaps your art is related to a particular cause. Maybe you are supporting a cause that a nonprofit might be looking for donations, and you're donating a portion of your proceeds and so forth to a particular cause. It might be eco-conscious, or it might be something that's a social type of a social justice, or something else that you find as really appealing to you and that's motivating you and is an inspiration behind what you do. Or it might be that you're in a spiritual or a religious type of a niche, and there is an audience who's already waiting, who is very interested in the topic of what you do. They would be a good place to start. Other people, they are not quite so sure who their audience is. They might say, well, my work is more general, or I'm not in a specific niche, so what am I going to do? And I actually published an article years ago, which was very much on point for finding out who your exact audience is. And even though this is an old article, it is completely relevant today. It is a story of a painter, Carol Swayze, in Florida, who had that very problem. And in fact, she was spending a ton of money every year on booth fees, on travel all over Florida and other places where she was attending art festivals, different fairs where she was selling her paintings. And she realized that she was getting very burned out, and she was spending a ton of time away from home, a lot of money. Sometimes she was more successful, and sometimes she was less successful. And she said, you know, I'm going to actually spend this year doing a deep dive on research to find out what kind of results I'm getting and finding out who exactly is buying from me. And so she did that. She recorded every cent that she spent on travel, on booth fees, on her business, where she went, where it was successful. But more importantly, because she was in person, and that's the ideal position to be in when you want to identify customers. Who was speaking with her about her art? Who was interested and why? Where were they from? What did they do? What did they love about her art? And most importantly, who was handing her the credit card to make purchases? Well, it so happened that she had an idea going in of who her ideal customer was, and she was completely wrong. She learned that her ideal customer was a surprise to her. But not only that, but she took this information and she was able to apply it to the shows that she did every year, the audience that she cultivated. She looked for areas in her state where she was going to travel that had the right demographic, the right type of person who she knew was her best customer. Ultimately, she was able to spend a lot less money, a lot less travel. She discovered that her ideal customers actually lived not so far from where she lived. So she was able to stay home more, spend more time with her family, and even take a vacation. Now, I'm not going to tell you who her ideal customer is. I want you to read that article. And I have linked to that in the video description below. I want you to take a look and think to yourself, is this something I could do? Where I am literally taking track of everything that I'm doing, who I'm talking to, who is buying from me, and are you asking them questions to learn more and more about that? This could help you also start to finally hone your approach and go to those customers who are going to be a perfect match for your art. Have you done this in your own business? Let me know in the comments below.